Well, here we are. We're back in Missoula. This time we had to come in a jet, not a biplane. But we're here to take the airplane apart and put it in a Penske truck so that the owner can deliver it to Bemidji, Minnesota. So we've got a good crew here, and we're going to walk around the airplane, and I'm going to tell them how to take the Stearman apart. So that's the project for today. Tomorrow we'll put it in a Penske truck and be out of here. The people here have been very kind, and we appreciate that. Neptune Aviation in Missoula. First thing we'll do is take the empennage off the airplane, the tail feathers. What we do here is we've got 8 wires, streamlined wires that are holding the empennage nice and in position. But we've got to remove these. So we're going to take the cotter pins off the clevises, and we're going to unlock the lock nuts on both ends. We loosen the wires 2 turns, and that slacks them off and they can be removed. This fairing right here is just 3 Zeus fasteners up front, 2 Zeus fasteners in back. We'll remove this. It gives us access to the horizontal attachment bolts and also to the vertical attachment bolts. We're going to leave the rudder in place on the vertical. We have trim tabs with cables which run the tab. They come up to a pulley here, a set of pulleys here, a set of pulleys here, then they go forward to what's called a non-reversing trim assembly. So those have to be loosened up there. And the empennage will be able to come off the airplane. These are the bolts that hold the forward portion in, the bolts back there. They have washers in them. Those 2 washers are by design. Yeah. So we'll keep the washers with the bolts, slip them back in this after we take it off.
All right.
But what we'll do is cut the wire, loosen safety wire, loosen the wires, remove this bolt, okay, and these will kind of dangle, and then we'll take the vertical and the rudder off. Actually, that'd be the first thing to do. Take the vertical and rudder will stay with it after we get the wires off.
Okay.
So.
Coming.
Yeah,
Yes.
There we go. All right.
I laid some blankets over there. So.
Oh, we just still have one more thing attached.
You got one more?
This cable right here.
You have a disconnect?
Yeah, it's got a disconnect right there.
There goes.
The first thing we have to do to take the wings off is take the fairing off between the center section and the upper wing. That will expose the 2 attach bolts. And then we take the cotter pins out of everything. Cotter pins at the interplane struts and the nuts, remove them. Cotter pins on the clevis pins here on the fork ends of the wires. In other words, remove all the nuts, all the cotter pins everywhere, and then also remove the javelin off of the flying and landing wire intersection here. The next step, after we have all the cotter pins and nuts off of all the bolts, attaching bolts, is we loosen the landing wires and the flying wires 2 turns. So that slacks everything up. At that point, we can drive these bolts out, attaching bolts, and slip in a smaller bolt or a screwdriver, anything smaller, so that we can retain everything in its place. We can then put somebody out on the upper wing tip and support the wingtip while we remove the interplane struts. After the interplane struts are removed, then we will pull the pins out of the wing, upper wing attach at the center section, and we'll just allow the upper wing to slide down the landing wire and be removed from the airplane. The landing wires will continue to support the lower wings, but we want to get the upper wings off first. To remove the lower wings, we first have to disconnect on the left side the pitot and static lines. And then also we need to go into the belly of the beast and disconnect the aileron push-pull tubes from the stick torque tube, the joystick torque tube. So that then means we could now remove the landing wires and pull the wing right out away from the airplane. Now the reason again, the reason for punching out all the standard bolts and slipping something smaller into its place is that it allows us to immediately remove pins and get the wing out of the way. If you don't do that, you're going to spend time fighting stuck bolts while somebody's out there holding the wing. After we've removed the upper wings and the lower wings, we now need to remove the center section. The center section tank, center section has a 46-gallon fuel tank in it. Of course, that has to be emptied. But then we have pulled all the nuts and all the cotter pins off the cabane struts and attachments, all the cotter pins, everything's gone. So now we can loosen the wires 2 turns. This then will allow us to support the center section and remove the cabane struts. We'll need 4 people to support the center section and then move it down the fuselage off the airplane. This is kind of the final phase. The roll wires center the center section, moves it left and right. So we're going to spin those wires all the way out, and we have 1 diagonal wire supporting the center section. We're going to drive all the regular bolts out, and we're going to put small bolts in place. And the manpower is trying to get this thing all the way back down the fuselage and on the ground.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah, we're born ready for this.
The 2 guys on the center section just kind of lift gently, and everybody grab a strut and try and work it out.
Pull the bottom pins.
Yeah, pull all the pins now. There you go.
Well,
Okay,
there's one airplane in pieces.
good job.
Just like a Lego, you put it back together, right?
Well, you guys
Wow,
know,
good
right now
job.